Hey everybody, welcome back to visionrecordingstudios.com and here on my YouTube channel. And today here is another, I'm calling it a utility plugin, but it's really much more than that. This is something that every mixer that's watching this video, regardless of the level that you're at, should be using, or something similar to this. This is a plugin by a company called Sample Magic called the Magic AB, and what this allows you to do, it allows you to easily reference your mix against other professional mixes to do for reference tracks. One of the things that I learned, and it took me the first couple of years of not doing this in my career, I was never referencing other mixes. I knew I was supposed to, I always heard I was supposed to, but I never did it. And I'm sure a lot of you watching this probably don't do it. You know you're supposed to. Everyone tells you should reference your mixes, but a lot of people don't do it. And I didn't do it either, especially in the beginning. I guess for several reasons. One, sometimes we get lazy and it's just, you like the way your mix sounds and you don't want to compare it to a professional mix because then, maybe you're not going to be thrilled with the results that you hear. You may figure out that the mix you thought sounded so good maybe isn't as good as you really think. But if you really want to compete with commercially released recordings, the best way to do that is to use reference tracks. And the sooner you get into doing that, the better off you're going to be. It will take your mixes to the next level. So I'm sure a lot of people here absolutely do that all the time, as I do and have been for years. And some of you probably don't already do it. And if you don't, I'm telling you, you should do it. So go out and do it. Whether you use this plugin or whether you do it a different way, you should do it. And I'll show you a couple of different ways that I used to do it prior to using Magic AB. So anyway, here is the plugin for Magic AB, and this plugin is where you're going to put as your first or your last insert on your 2-bus. So before your limiter, you want to put this on. Right now, I have this on my stereo output over here on my print track, and again, my print track is really your 2-bus. I'm doing analog summing, so just disregard that. But before my mix actually, after my mix actually goes through my 2-bus processing, I'm going to insert Sample Magic. And then what you're going to do here is you have a way to insert reference tracks and compare it to your mix. So here's the interface. Here's what it looks like. A is your mix. B is your reference track or reference tracks. The way you add reference tracks is down here. You're able to add 9 different tracks to this plugin. Okay, so the very first one here, I have the song that I'm referencing, and I'll let you listen to part of my mix in a second. But I'm referencing the Tony Maserati mix of the Jason Mraz song, The Woman I Love. Okay, it's kind of a adult contemporary pop track, pop rock, light rock, maybe you can call it. So I'm referencing my mix against that mix. I really like that mix. I really like the production of that song. It's very similar to the style of the mix I'm working on, so that's what I'm referencing. So and I'll show you how to add a song in a second. We'll do it right down here. So I've added it here in the first slot, but to add a song, you simply just click this. You go to your drive where your reference track is at. I'll add it again here. You can add WAV files, MP3s, doesn't matter. And here it is down here. Okay, this here is an input volume control. Okay, now typically when you're comparing your mix to a professionally released recording, the professionally released recording is most likely been mastered, so it's probably going to be a lot louder in volume. So the one thing you're going to want to do, and we'll do this in a second, is you're going to want to level match so you have your mix the same level in volume as the track you're referencing against. So you can turn it down here. You can switch it on and off here with the radio button. When I hit this little radio button, you can see B is now playing. You can't hear it yet because I don't have it turned up. I'll shut that off for a second. Okay, so, and then on this side, so you can add up to 9 tracks, okay? On this side is your output level. So what you can do here, and I'll play back my mix here. If you hit A and I hit the space bar here, this is my mix and I'm working on. Okay, you can see the peak and the RMS level meter here. You can see the overall output level. You can turn this up or down to level match against your reference track. So now if I were to turn this down a little bit, and I'll click back and forth, so I'm going to play mine and I'm going to hit the B, and you're going to hit, when I hit B, it's going to go over to the Jason Mraz track. Here we go. Now if I click over, oh, I should turn it on. forth. So as you can hear, mine's a little louder, so I'm going to turn up the reference track a little bit here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the output level so they're both at 0. I'm going to start there. Let's just bring this down a little bit. Oops. There we go. So I'll play my track and then we'll switch over to the reference track. Now we'll switch over.
I got you.
So it's a real quick and easy way to reference your mixes against another track, and you could see the WAV file here, the Jason Mraz track right up here. You could see that the playhead's playing. You can just click anywhere in this waveform and move to different sections of the song for the reference track. And again, you can tell which when your this little button is lit up here. This is my mix is A. The Jason Mraz track is B. And then you can control the overall output levels of each one individually. So if by turning this all the way down on the input side, if the reference mix is still louder than mine, I can either turn down the reference mix here, the output level, or I can turn mine up to kind of level match it as best I can. So for example, what I'm listening for, if I'm listening to, say, the snare drum, I'd be listening to mine, and this is what we would have.
You let yourself get mad.
So I'm listening to my snare. Now I'm going to flip over and listen to the reference track.
I got you.
So I hear right out of the bat that my snare is a little bit louder in the mix than the reference track. So I may want to make that adjustment. Now this song I'm working on is we're only in the process of mixing it. I'm not even close to being done. But what I like to do is I like to reference the mix, or I like to reference check against reference tracks throughout my mix. A lot of guys wait till the end and then they kind of compare it and go back and make adjustments, and that's fine. You could do it that way. But I would encourage you, if you've never done it before, to try doing it in stages. So like when I'm done working on, say, the drums and the bass, I'll compare my drums and bass to the reference track drums and bass. And as I add other elements, I'll do it along the way. So if I have to make any tweaks, I can do it as I go to try to stay as close to the reference as possible. Now, that doesn't mean I'm trying to copy it exactly, but I'm trying to get the overall vibe, the overall feel very, close to the reference. Again, because if you want it to compete, if you want your mix to compete with something that's popular, that's on the radio, a commercial release, this is the way to do it. Sonically, you want it to be similar. Again, you don't want to try to copy it. It's all a matter of taste, this whole mixing thing that we're doing. But it is a good way to see, are you even in the ballpark? Okay, now the other thing you can do is you can add, like I said, up to 9 tracks here, and you can reference against 9 songs at once. And you can use all these individual volume sliders to level match all your volumes. And then once you have a bunch of songs that are in similar style, what you can do is save it as a preset, which is what I did. Here you can go up here, and I saved, let's say, a rock preset. And if I click on that, you can see that I have a bunch of songs in here. I have a Slash song, a couple of Creed songs, some Green Day songs. So I have like 6 different rock tracks in here that I particularly like the mixes of. And when I'm working on a mix that's similar in style, that kind of hard rock, classic rock vibe, I'll reference it against some of these songs. I also have an adult contemporary preset, Norah Jones and a couple other songs. And then I have a country preset. So you could go ahead and you can save up to 9 tracks and save it as a preset. You can have multiple presets for the same style of music. So you can have like 4 different country presets if that's what you wanted to do. I typically will just reference maybe 1 song, maybe 2 on a mix. I don't get crazy about it, but this is a nice way. I find mixes that I like, and I load up sample Magic AB here. So I don't have to keep looking for reference tracks every time I'm going to mix a song. I pop open this one plugin, and a lot of my reference music is already here. And you can save an unlimited amount of presets. So if you had 100 different songs in your collection of reference music, you can load them in by genre, and you'll always have this here. And again, you put it on as the last plugin before your limiter on your 2-bus. And that's the way you do it. Or I guess you could put it after the limiter too. If you're comparing it against a mastered commercial release, you could put it after the limiter as well. But you want your mix to go through all its processing. So the last thing you hear is the final product, if that makes any sense. So that is the Magic AB by Sample Magic. I think this plugin is probably less than $100. I don't remember. It's been a while since I bought it, but I wanted to show it to you guys. I use it on every single mix. I have it preloaded into my mix template, so it's always here. And once you load up the music, you don't have to keep, going back and futzing around with it. The other thing is you can loop different sections of the song. If you just wanted to loop a section, you can loop a section of the reference track as well, which is kind of nice. So that's a reference track. You can loop it. You can change the speed. You can do all kinds of things with it. So I go out to the website. Just Google Sample Magic, Magic AB. You'll find the website. I'll put it in the description below for you, to make it even easier. And this is something you ought to do. Now, the old way of doing this, prior to using a plugin like this, is you can always just add a track. Excuse me, getting over a cold here. And I would go reference. I would add a stereo track. And then I would, I got it all the way down here. I don't want it here. And I'd put it at the end of my tracks here. I would change it to a unique color, and I would load in a file this way. So this is another way to do it, where you can go in. This is the old way of kind of really doing it for me anyhow, where I can go into my files and I can go under reference music and I can find the Jason Mraz song and I can just drag it on here. That's another way to do it. But the problem with this is now you're limited to one song. If you want to do multiple songs, you got to load up a bunch of audio files. It just kind of gets cluttered, it gets in the way. Then you got to kind of unsolo your whole mix, solo the reference track, bounce back and forth. It's just a lot more clicking around. But again, it's the way we did it for years. Any way you need to reference professional mixes, you should. So that's one way to do it. But now, again, I just open up Sample Magic's Magic AB, and it's all right here for me. I don't have to put 18 different reference tracks in my session. All I have to do is just load up this plugin. All my music's there. Once it's set up once, you never have to set it again. It's easy to swap out music. You can take stuff in and out. It's really simple. And that's it. So until next time, I hope this was helpful. If you have any other questions, shoot me an email at visionrecordingstudios@yahoo.com. And for more mixing and mastering tips, check out my 6-hour-long video tutorial called Mixing Made Easy. Go to my website. I'll leave the link below in the description. Check it out. Super affordable, high quality training, in depth, 6 hours long, 9 different videos showing you how I mix a song from start to finish. It's like looking over my shoulder in the studio, all for the price of less than 3 cups of coffee at your local Starbucks, which is an amazing deal. Read the reviews. There's tons of reviews on it. It's helped a ton of people, and I know it'll help you as well. So you can check that out. And again, thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing to this channel. If you have not subscribed to my channel, do so now. New content coming up every week. Always trying to show you guys little tips and tricks and things that are helpful to help you make better music in your studio. That's what this channel is all about. So until next time, this is David Vignola from VisionRecordingStudios.com. Take care.